Boss of Blades.
Hello, Spellslingers. Today we are going over our round 2 match versus Wuschu in the June LGS Mythic tournament. We are going second. We don't want Sun Titan Pinpoint. We might keep the Grit. We actually do decide to keep the Pinpoint and the Helix here, though. Usually I would not keep Pinpoint, but it is a really good card against Derek. So here it's not too bad. Our hand is a very reactive opening hand with Pyroclasm and the Day of Judgment. And they are going first with a pass, so they have no 1-drop, so we're passing it back. There is a Baby Mammoth, Wushu's neat little tech he has here. And there's a Yak off the top, so we are going to play the Yak and pass the turn back. He is attacking with the Baby Mammoth, but we are probably just going to take it here because we can just kill it with Pinpoint, and if he drops like a Curse Bearer, then he doesn't gain the bonus power. There's Curse Bearer, of course. So we just drop the Pinpoint, hanging on to that fragile mana as long as we can, because we are the control deck and we do want to keep our mana as long as possible. So we could go turn 6 Day of Judgment if we need to. And he goes ahead, just fouls our Pinpoint, attacking with the Curse Bearer. We could block and then Pyroclasm, but I'm not really big on that plan. It's only 2 damage, so I will probably just take it here, to be honest. And we will just take the 2 damage, go to 19, going into our turn 4. And let's see, yep, Curse Bearer triggers, goes to a 3/4 thanks to the Flagrant Foul play he did. We're just going to Lightning Helix here and heal back 4, so we net 2 life off of that in exchange. Lightning Helix is just a really good anti-aggro measure, and if it serves the same purpose as a lot of removal, gaining 4 life is great. That is an awesome top deck. So we pop the Grid, of course, we sort up the Yak, and then attack with the attack Yak, which is very fun to say. And he does block, which we are very happy with him blocking here, because our Grid will trigger and add an attack Yak back to the hand. So we're not really under pressure. We are going to Desperate Prayer, and we're going to pass the turn back. Because we are the control deck in this matchup, so we just want to react to what he's doing. And he's just dropping a Gothapede. But he takes the card draw, which is interesting here. We are at 30 life, so we're not really incentivized to do much in that way. We're just going to Second Suns, go up to 37, because we can easily take a hit and bait him into a bigger Day of Judgment. Because we're in no chance of essentially taking a large amount of damage here. We do take the 7 though, because the Yaks stops, so just basically trade with our Second Sun here. Moorland Haunt will trigger, gives us the Pinpoint, so very nice. We're gonna pop the Glare. We could put down the Yak, and then Grit, because if he has like the Veil Curse, it'll trade, then our Champion's Skirt will trigger. If he swings with the Gothapede, then the Glare will trigger. But I mean, if he sees 3 mana up, he's probably not swinging with the Gothapede. So he might just swing with the Dark Confidant, which would be a good play here. Well, let's hope he doesn't telegraph the Glare and trade. He is just attacking with the Confidant here, so we'll trade with the Glare. He's got the full 10 cards in hand though, so he's got to start playing stuff out eventually. And I'm pretty good with this. There's a Goo. Okay. I'm pretty good. And there's a Mammoth too. Okay. So this is a pretty reasonable board if we just wanted to like play the Day of Judgment and Champion's Grit. It'd be pretty good. Could also just do that. Use the sword on the Yak. You'll probably have to want to trade up or something. Okay, well he's gonna down trade with the Mammoth to get the keep the Yak. We are pretty good with that. little bit of risk not putting the Day of Judgment just straight up here and putting the grid up. That would have been really good. We're not really in danger of dying or anything. We're 30 life. And it's already turn 7, so... Thinking here, I'm just gonna pass the turn and make him think that I have another glare. Which I don't. But the smarter play would be not to bait him and probably just use the second sun, Dawn. But we'll see if he takes the bait and just swings with just like the goo or something. And if he does, then we are a master baiter. Because we bait out like the goo and then just trade. But he's gonna go ahead and Veil Curse here, which is annoying, of course. And he will trade off with the Yak. And our second grit will add the Yak back to the hands. And he does not take the bait thinking we have the glare. He's taking the time to think though. He's axing up the view. And yep, we're just taking the 16. We do not actually have the trap in it. So, good predict there. Keep the time to think, do we actually have the outfit? There's a cage match off the top, so we get to trade the goo and the proceed. Very good top deck here. We're still holding on to Day of Judgment. We don't really need to play them. We could probably just drop a Yak if we wanted to. We could also just Pyroplasm and drop a Flying Pinpoint. Still holding on the Crowd and Enterprise. We'll just drop the Yak. And we'll sort up. Just do it. Free. Dropping the Pinpoint doesn't serve much purpose here, and we like having double Pinpoints in hand. The double Pinpoint and the Plasm if you clear a board of 4 toughness creatures if they attack with that much stuff. I don't believe Wuschu has any like hasters in his deck, so he's just got the Dark Confidant versus 9/7 attack Yak. See what he has. There is the Wild Speaker's Fury. He will take 9, kill our Yak, and go to 10. It's very risky. Go into 8 because we are going up into 10 mana, and once we hit 10 mana, if we draw a second sun, it's just game. There's the Mammoth. There's a Death Shadow. We're feeling like we kind of want to do a Day of Judgment. There's an Icing Death too. But I'm pretty sure this is a Day of Judgment kind of board. Because he does have a Death Shadow up. And we do have a win con of just drawing the second sun. And we could also just pop a Pinpoint as just a creature on the board. Because he's at 8, that's 3 turn block. If we use our sword, which is 11. There's the Cruel Flagellants. Drana, so he does have a blocker. He does want to do that. But Moreland Hunt will trigger. It'll give us another Pinpoint. There's an Alarm Bell. Yeah, let's figure this out. We are more than likely going to sort up the Pinpoint here and just like, swing. Yep, there's the sword. And we are swinging up into the Drana to see if he blocks. And if he's expecting like a DOJ, it's pretty effective to block. He does block here though. We're not particularly frightened though about the Flagellant here, because if he attacks with the Flagellant, we could just set up a Day of Judgment plus Pinpoint. Just gonna play another Pinpoint because we have another on hand, so may as well. I'll just block it. He does Grudge Match here though. So he is going to hit us for quite a bit of damage. And we have 2 second suns now in our deck. There's the General Adamri. There's the second Mammoth here. So what we're likely looking to do here is Pinpoint and do a Day of Judgment again. But we could, because if we do the Pinpoint, the Crow Flagellant will actually have become back as a 5/6, so it wouldn't die to an Icing Death. Otherwise, we would go Pinpoint plus Icing Death. It's still pretty reasonable to do that. It would give us a clock with 1 turn clock with the icing gap, dealing 8 damage. You'd have to deal with the icing gap. The other smart play we could do to do the Pyroclasm into the Day of Judgment. Yep, we're going to do the Pyroclasm, Flatulence will come back, then we Day of Judgment. That gets rid of the Mana Crystal, which we could not have done unless we held onto that Fragile Mana Crystal this long as a control deck. It's one of the best outs we actually had to that kind of board. Now that he sees, and there's the Second Sun. So yeah, Second Sun is just going to give us the game here. We basically were just trying to stall till we had the 10th mana. We actually drew it literally 10th turn though, out of our 10th mana. Not necessarily 10th turn, but like as soon as we hit the 10th mana crystal, and that puts the game away. Alright, time for game 2 versus Wuschu. And this game we are going first. What's very interesting with the Hero deck is if you're playing like a control deck, you can actually run as an aggro deck. You're keeping the belt, we're keeping the Recruit, by the way. Recruit is actually extremely good against a Garruk deck because a lot of their removal outside of the Wild Speakers and Flagrant Foul is not going to 1-for-1 versus the Recruits. And Recruit's a really good blocker early game because it will usually trade for one of their guys, and there's not much they can do about it. There is the Scorpion. We're just going to drop the Recruits. Deciding if I want to attack or not. It's pretty free to attack. We're going to do Grudge Match, but we pass it back. And he's going to go ahead and attack. I am actually going to block here, because since he did attack, I can pinpoint, and that will kill the Scorpion. Here's a Helix off the top, so we have some removal for later. There is the pinpoint to destroy the Scorpion. And we are not attacking with the Recruits, not really a point. There's the Infection on the pinpoint, and that really gives him no incentive to attack because we would just block with pinpoint here. So we are attacking with the pinpoint because it's going to die anyway, and he's going to take it because he has Death Shadows in deck. We're going to do the Alarm Bell, and looks like we get a healer. Deciding if I want to play the Prayer or do the Healer. Healer is technically better tempo because we do have a second pinpoint, so we could block with the Healer and then use the pinpoint on the second Scorpion. And he's just gonna foul it. I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna block here though, because I'm likely just gonna go for a pinpoint and then maybe another 2-drop off of the Alarm Bell. There's another bell too. There's a Recruit. So Recruit is really cool here because the pinpoint will go, kill the Scorpion, and then we drop the Recruit. That Recruit actually makes it so he cannot Veil Curse Predator because of the armor on the Recruit. It would just trade with the Recruit and only be a 1-for-1, which is just a very poor play for 5 mana. So there's a Flagellant. Makes sense. I'm at 6 mana. I can either go with the Sun Titan or I could do a Desperate Prayer into a Alarm Bell into whatever 2-drop I get. Just to take it here. Just wouldn't really get the trade off anyway. We're just gonna drop the Sun Titan and we get a Yak. Technically, we could have waited to do the Sun Titan until we ran out of 2-drops. So we do take a card out of the deck with the Alarm Bell, but we do want the second Fatal Infection off the board. There's the Drana. We have a Lightning Helix to just use in the Drana. Yep, no reason to swing here. Lightning Helix, the Drana, easy play. And then we get to heal another 4, go to 31, and we're just in a full swing. Alright, and there's a swing. And just gonna take 5 to the face and go to 15. So we are the aggro deck now. There's the Yak, and there is the Brits. Still keeping our 4 recruits on board. It will trigger, Sun Titan goes to the hand, which is actually a good thing that we do want, because we can go next turn Alarm Bell, plus the Titan, grab our remaining 2 drops from the deck. And then our Sun Titan can grab things such as other things in the deck, like the Zozu, because that I think is our next drop after the pinpoints, which are only 3 drops. We're just gonna fold swing here. I don't really want to lose the Desperate Prayer. And 31 life. Blocking doesn't really help per se, so I'm just gonna take it. And we go to 22. We have a very large life buffer, and we do have an Icing Death in hand, so like, we're not super worried on what his board is right now. And there's a Kothpede, and he's going for the card draw again, going down to 11. Haunt will trigger, gives us a pinpoint, so that's pretty cool. There's a second Sun's Dawn. There's a lot of options we could do here. I kind of want to do the prayer though. There's a Zozu, so that's very nice. Thinking about just playing the Zozu too. We're going with the pinpoint, sorting up the pinpoint and the core recruit. See if he just takes it maybe. He's going to block the pinpoint as down trade. And he does just take the recruit here. That makes sense. We are going to pinpoint because it's a flying blocker. And then we're going to drop the healer. So we got a full board at this point, and he's at 9. I could consider healing the pinpoint, or I could heal my face. But I'd rather just, heal my face. Healing the pinpoint wouldn't really save us any more life. It would actually cost us 1. We just block it with the Flagellant, so there's no more points doing that. And you still can't really go with a Bell Curse here. Okay, well he does do that. Grudge matches our flying blocker and buffs it up. I mean, that's a good play, but it does put it within the ability to get Icing Death. Okay. I could consider just taking the full damage here, or I could block the attack yak because I do want it in the yard. Yeah. Save the 1 point and take the rest. I was considering just not doing that though. Technically, it would have been better to keep the armor, and more valuable to keep the armor, but the core recruit is going to die if we Icing Death no matter what here. So we're just going to Icing Death, and the core recruit's going to die. The Tracker Snare triggers, and oh, just kidding. Yeah, our Icing Death does not get to trigger, so that's a big surprise that he had. 8 mana debut. Nah, just kidding. It's a blocker. So he's just going to block with his guys, and he's going to take 4 and go to 5 life, which is very unfortunate with the Icing Death losing the debuts. There was a couple plays we could have done otherwise. We could have just gone with the second Suns, but we couldn't really not try and go for the Icing Death. Tracker Snare being a card that he did side in. He has Silent Strike here on the Kothpede, which is 11 damage guaranteed at this point. Then he'll axe up on the recruits, which basically will force us to block it with the icing deck. So otherwise we would be dying. We are forced to block it with the icing deck. And Kothapede being an 11-3. Our best chance here would be if we were to get a icing death off Moreland Haunt trigger, then we'd be able to kill the Kothapede. And we do not get that. We get a Pyroclasm, which does not super duper help here. We could just be like Zozu, force him to block the Zozu, and like sword up a Yak or something. And then Pyroclasm main phase 2. Could also just be like Second Suns to heal a bit. Try and set him up with an Immolating Glare. We have a lot of options. It's a very close game here, actually. Let's see what I do here. So we're going to put up the Glare, and we're going to Second Suns, and then hope he doesn't have something to deal with that, and then pass turn. It might have been it was likely the better play to drop the Zozu and sword up the Yak, because I would force him to block both creatures, or he would just die. He has the Veil Curse to clear my board, but the Immolating Glare will kill the Kothapede. Just kidding, he has another sideboard card, the Treetop Scout, to deactivate. Big misplay on my plan. The Zozu into main phase 2 Pyroclasm was the correct play. It would have actually won me the game at that point, so Wuschu, congratulations on your game win here. And now on to game 3. And let's see who gets to go first here. And it looks like I get to go second, which as a control deck I'm very happy about. We have a Zozu, Recruit, DOJ, Healer. DOJ I don't like seeing opening hand usually. Zozu is not particularly good opening hand here. The Healer is an okay keep. The Recruit, I will always keep that opening hand against Garrick. We are keeping the DOJ though. We do want to see it, and ideally we want to be able to make a board, and then we want to deal with his board as well. There's a lot of like corners in this deck where we want to both be the aggressor and also not be the aggressor. Channeler on 1, he does get the boost. I'm just going to drop the Recruits, because he doesn't really have an out here unless he just like Wild Speakers. And yeah, he just have the Wild Speakers though, of course. So he will take 2 and kill our Recruits as a 1-for-1. And our play here is we just play the Healer, and we're going to heal up, and heal up. We're going to Sword. It's one of the things that a lot of people say Control Nahiri doesn't really use the ability, but like here, we have a 4-3 blocker. If we were any other character, we wouldn't have a 4-3 blocker. So, playing a 4-3 blocker here is good. Now, it is turn 4, he's likely going to... Okay, well he has the Drama Domri, he could have had the Goo. We have the Zozu. We could just run out of Zozu if we wanted. Is that the worst? It's only 4 damage though. We could also play a very telegraphed Immolating Glare. We're running out of Zozu. And we're swinging it. See if he blocks. He's not going to block. There's no way. No way he blocks. Takes the 4. Basically, we're like, hey, do you have a Veil Curse? Because if you do, you probably want to play it. And if you don't have a Veil Curse, I'm going to trade with your Eladamri. And he does have the Veil Curse. So we are okay with that. I mean, we are going to take the damage from the Eladamri. And he's going to buff his hands. He did not axe up here, which is a little bit weird, but oh yeah. I think our best play here is just put up the Glare and heal ourselves. We could also use the Sword here, but there's no way he has a second Veil Curse. He does Grudge Match. So the Sword actually would have lost our Crystal for essentially no gain. Really considering, does he have the Glare, and Yeah, we do, but he still gets the hand buff, so he has a 2/3 elf and a 3/3 elf, and then everything else that he had, like the Curse Bearer, gets the +2/+2. It's a very big Curse Bearer. And there's one elf. Does he play another elf? Nope. I got the Archangel. That is actually a card that I sideboarded in, because it'll give me some more healing and give me a buffer, and also give me an additional flying blocker, and be able to take away his tracker snares triggers. We are going to Pyroclasm here just to make it so he's trapped. If he wants to swing with the Curse Bearer, it's going to die to the glare. And we're kind of just trying to use all our glares as fast as possible to make Treetop essentially just be a 3/3 with no abilities, because that is one of the only traps we do have. Drops the Goo, and it's big Goo, does the Axe, plays the other elf. We could just go Day of Judgment, or we could also Second Sons and Desperate Prayer. 19 cards in deck though, so we are just going to Second Sons here. We can kind of afford to take a hit here. We're going to Desperate Prayer, and there's an Icing Death, which is a very good hit. We're basically like, yeah, we're going to take some damage here, but we're at 37. So, yeah. We're going down to 24. Going to commit some more to the board, which we're A-okay with. And we're just going to go ahead and either play the Angel and Desperate Prayer first. We like playing the Angel here, because it will... yeah, we'll take the Tracker Snare. It was either that or a game to 7. We're still good with that. And he's just going to Flagrant Foul here. And he axed up the Cranial. And we go down to 9. I mean, we could have done the Day of Judgment. It's probably a good idea to do the Day of Judgment, especially since we just drew the second Day of Judgment. So yeah, we're definitely just going to Day of Judgment, and then we're going to Healer, and it does go through. No Tracker Snare with his 5 mana up. Go back to our 3. And just pass the turn back. We're going to Alarm Bell. There is our Yak finally on turn 10. No ability trigger. We are not playing the Angel. We want to use it for life gain if we get to. And yep, we get to swing for 3 on the Healer. The Hero ability, giving us slightly better win cons. There's a Channeler. There's a Scorpion. Morlun Haunt trigger. Gets the Recruit. We're going to play the Recruit. There's another Recruit. Play the second Recruit. We're going to swing with our Flyers here. And we are going to sort up the Leonin. There's no incentive to really swing with the other guys. And there is another Yak. Does not trigger the Tracker Snare, he does not have one. So now our Yaks, our next Yak will be a 6/6 or a 5/5 if you get it off Morlun Haunt. Second Veilcursed here would trade with either Yak and the core recruits, nothing really else. Interesting. Grudge Match is the biggest attacker other than the Yak. Puts the Healer in the yard, goes to a 3/1 on the Scorpion. We're basically just trying to set up to a point where we deal him 4 damage and then second side. 7 mana Death Shadow. Okay. That's Death Shadow. I mean, we are the aggressor, but we also don't want him to be able to drop the 0 mana Death Shadow. There's a Scorpion. I'll block it. It's literally free to block it, because we just blocked the Recruit. And it breaks our shield. You don't want to break the shield on the flying one because it does fly. he will Fatal Infection, and then he did an interesting play. He actually used the Axe on the Death Shadow to make it really big. I'm guessing he's going for like a Silent Strike, but we are just going to ice him down, and that will kill his Shadow. Didn't really need to go for it though. And we are full swinging and popping our Alarm Bell. We do not actually have any more 2-drop creatures left in deck. We will trade with the Yak, so we do have a Yak left in his deck, and he's going to 9. So he is within Second Sun's range to KO. And there is another Death Shadow. This one is the double buff from the Jello Domri as a 15/15. Drops a Mighty Board with Drana, drops 2, drops Perennial. We could just be like Day of Judgment and put up the Champion's Grit. Seems like a good play here. Champion's Grit and Day of Judgment. And then our Grit will trigger, and we get the Yak back. And now our Yak is a 7/7. And he no longer has Death Shadows. There is Perennial, Morlahon trigger. We do have the 10 mana Cage Match. We just probably will play the Axe. We don't have the Cage Match to go for game because there's only one creature out. We're just going to swing with our Yak and force a block with a bunch of flyers out. I could play the Archangel too. It's another blocker. And that way if he has the second Bell Curse, it would only trade with the Archangel and the Elder and keep our Yaks. Seems pretty good. We have double Cage Match in hand, so it really depends what he plays here. If he could trade with a Cage Match or not. Silent Strike, he did in fact have the Silent Strike, so if he didn't kill either of the Death Shadows earlier, they would have just won us the game. And there is a top-decked Second Sun, which we did not actually need because he had no flying blockers, but may as well win with Second Sun because it's cool to do. And that will win us round 2 of the Mythic LGS tournament.